So starting off with, I had this old Warrener wagon. It's a mainline wagon, it's fairly old, and I just didn't like what was in it, the load. So I took it out. It was just some cardboard with some kind of painted blobs. I got rid of that. And what I did is I've got some black paint. I just dry brushed it onto some newspaper. And then just brushed over the top of the wagon. This is just going to show main dirt that's stuck to the top when loading and unloading the wagon. I also got a little bit of a smaller brush just to add some finer details. Next up I got sort of more of a wider paintbrush and got some grey paint, and I started applying that onto the wagon. Just sort of dry brushing it again to make sure I didn't apply too much, but to give that sort of stony, dusty effect. Also did the same method just on the ends of the wagons. So far it's looking really good. I really like how I've weathered it, so it's sort of kept a little bit clean, but you know, it's collected dust from over the years and it's just got that nice effect. So moving on, you can see I have also applied some dirt inside the wagon, even though we're not going to see it. I thought it was just a nice thing to have in case I do decide to take off the tarpaulin in the future. So next I've got a humble brown paint, number 50 rust, and it's a really nice colour, and what I'm going to do is just give it a bit of bogey dirt. Yeah, that's adding the dirt. It just looks so much more better and just gives it a more lifelike look. You also will want to clean the wheels after doing this, as quite a lot of the paint does stick and can cause running issues. So starting on the tarpaulin itself, I've got some black sort of kids craft paper. Get it in mainly kids crafting packs, and it's sort of quite thin. Bit thicker than tissue paper, but much thinner than regular paper, so it's perfect for what I'm looking for. I then placed it over the wagon just to make sure I got the right size piece, and I also did end up trimming it as it was a little bit too wide. Next I got some cling film, or saran wrap, whatever you like to call it, and placed it over the wagon to prevent any glue getting on when applying later. Then what I did was just scrunch up the paper to get the scrunched up tarpaulin look that you regularly see. Then when I found the desired look, I got some water and covered the paper in water to help it absorb the PVA glue later. I did also need to scrunch it up again as the water had sort of flattened the scrunches. Once I got the good look, I then placed it on top of the wagon and just moulded it round, ready to apply an elastic band. I put the elastic band around just to keep it held in place. No, I didn't include it in the video, but I put a little bit of kitchen roll underneath to give the wagon some support and show that it has the load inside. Then I got our 50-50 PVA mix from a few videos ago, had some left over, so I may as well use it up. I then applied that onto the wagon around the tarpaulin edges as well, to make sure the whole thing does get covered. I also used a bit of kitchen roll just to absorb any leftover glue. Here we are the next day. Took the band off and you can see it has worked really well and it's turned into a paper mache like mould. Gently removing the tarpaulin, you can see that I did include a bit of paper inside just to keep the support up. Took that off and then you can just slide it back on perfectly and it fits like a glove. I just sort of messed around making sure that it did fit. And then I got into cutting. So what you want to do is trim the edges just so it covers the top of the wagon. You don't want it covering too much or else you can't really see it very well, but you don't want it covering too little either because otherwise it wouldn't be very practical in real life. I then just messed about and made sure I had enough cut off and enough left as well to give a good look. So next up I got some brown cotton thread and I cut it into tiny strips, just enough to show a rope texture. I placed it through one of the beams in the wagon and pulled it through. I secured it using a little bit of yoo-hoo just on the end of a cocktail stick because it was quite fiddly, so I just put a little bit on and stuck it down to hold it in place. I repeated that with all four sides to show that it was being pulled down. So now that's complete, that is pretty much everything in. I included the rope and tarpaulin, and now I'm going to show you some running shots of how it looks on the layout. So here we are, it's a little load train. You can see it's a third wagon along and I think it looks really good in a set of coal wagons. Some photos too, you can see the amount of detail I put in and the tarpaulin. I'm really pleased with the outcome. It looks so realistic and I really hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.